Welcome to Redefine a Woman's Worth. I am your girl, Janelle Renee. Welcome. I am here because I love bringing beauty to broken things. Hey. And it's okay to be broken. We all been broken at some point. We've all experienced something that was traumatic or hurtful, painful, right? And sometimes we experience things that break us, and sometimes we just experience things that wound us. However, the point is we don't have to stay in that place. And that's why I'm here. Some of us need assistance in identifying that we're hurting. Someone hurt us, a situation hurt us, something's affecting us. And B, we need to know, how do we come out of that, right? How do we now overcome? How do we now heal? How do we now release, right? Because sometimes things is maybe we've healed from it, right? Maybe you healed from that last situation. Maybe you healed from that disappointment. Maybe you healed from that rejection. Maybe you healed from that abuse, but maybe you haven't released it. What is the difference? The difference is healing is getting to a place where that thing is not a wound anymore. And what is a wound? A wound is it is like an abrasion, or it is a cut, or it is a some type of trauma to your body that creates now an opening. And what has happened now is this skin, which is a defense, right? As long as it's intact, it is constantly defending us against invaders, right? Against germs, against all kind of, dirt and just things that we don't want in our body, right? Well, when a wound happens, it creates an opening. It's a cut, right? Now it's given access to all of these things that we really don't want inside, right? So sometimes our defense is our soul, which is our mind, our will, and our emotions. And sometimes we have an experience that wound us. It creates a cut in our soul. So maybe it's now altering your mindset, what you think about yourself, or what you think about a particular thing, or maybe it's altering your heart. Where you're now getting hardened. Your heart is becoming hardened to where you don't want to try again. You don't want to love again. You don't want to let nobody in again. You're creating walls. You want to keep people out, or is your emotions. Maybe someone really hurt your feelings. Maybe somebody really, betrayed you, and really hurt you emotionally, right? And so now you're in a place where your emotions is all over the place. You're on an emotional roller coaster. You're one minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. You don't know, you're happy, you're sad, you're just kind of going vacillating between all of these different emotions, and you're being overly emotional, right? Or on the flip side, you're having no emotion. You're stoic, right? You have no emotion whatsoever. You have completely shut down emotionally because that trauma was so difficult. You don't ever want to experience it again. So now I'm just going to completely shut down emotionally and not let nobody else in. So now we have a wound. And even though it's not a physical wound that we're seeing on our skin, right? We're not seeing the trauma here. We're not seeing the opening here, right? We're not seeing the abrasion here. But it's inside, it's internal. And what happens is maybe time, because we hear that expression, that statement, time heals all wounds. I don't agree to that. I don't subscribe to that, because I know for a fact that I've had some wounds that have been since childhood. And I'm talking about decades later, it's still hurting. And it took me to really get intentional to go to counseling. And first and foremost, I really had to acknowledge. I think what we learn to do, especially as women, we learn to compartmentalize. We learn to just stuff. We learn to just keep going, act like nothing happened, right? And I know I had to do that from a child with the certain things that I experienced. So yeah, at some points, it just kind of was out of my mind, because I was so busy with life and doing other things. It wasn't at the forefront. But then it always found its way to come up, because it wasn't healed and released. And so first, before I could even get healed, I had to acknowledge that, hey, something happened to me. It didn't matter that it was all those years ago. It happened, and it is still affecting me today. and I'm still hurting today, right? This wound has not been healed. So what happens when you have an unhealed wound? This wound get all nasty, get infected. And when a wound is infected, it's like oozing out. It's like got, like pus, it's turning colors, like all kind of nasty things are happening. So that's kind of what happens with our soul, right? We don't see it necessarily, but maybe it's coming out in our actions. Maybe it's coming out in our behavior. Maybe we turn really negative. Maybe we turn really angry. Maybe we're just mean. Maybe we're just abrasive, condescending, sarcastic. Maybe we just, don't want to connect and attach with people. Maybe, we are jealous and envious, whatever it can create. Or maybe we're just looking for something or someone to fill this void, right? To try to, heal the wound, because we don't know really what we need to do to bring healing, right? But our soul gets all nasty, just like a wound does, right? A wound goes through all different kind of phases of infection. It don't just start and immediately go to the worst level of infection. It's like a process. It's a little by little, right? So first, you might notice that maybe it's starting to, swell, right? Maybe it's starting to swell. Maybe it's starting to turn colors, then maybe it's starting to have a lot of pain, more pain. And then maybe it's starting to have some kind of, like some pus or some kind of substance oozing from it, right? So it's like it's degrees, and that's what happens in our souls. There's degrees to a wound. And so if you don't get that thing healed, all that's going to happen is going to continue to, decay. And so you think you're okay because on the outside you're like, I'm cool, I got it all together, nah, don't worry about it, I'm Gucci, I'm over that was so long ago, I don't even care, this and that. We tell ourselves these things because we want to try to trick our mind to believe that, but deep down inside we know that's not true. And so now we walk around with this gaping wound and it's unhealed. And then you can also say you did get healed. Say you went through the process. Say whatever you needed to do to heal that area in your life that had a wound. Say you did that, which is beautiful, right? But say you didn't release the actual occurrence, the event that actually took place. Like, for example, say as a child, you was really wounded because you were rejected. You feel like you were rejected by your parent, right? Say your dad or your mother was never there. They were never around. Maybe they gave you up. Maybe they gave you to a family member, whatever, right? And say you were wounded deeply, because a lot of times that is a lot of our stories. I know that was my story, and I dealt with mother issues and daddy issues for a long time. But say that's the story. But say as you have gotten older, you've grown, you recognize like, okay, this situation happened to me in my childhood. It is affecting me. It's affecting my ability to parent. It's affecting my ability to connect, with someone romantically. It's affecting my ability to trust, whatever, right? You may notice it and you may say, I need to go get some healing. So maybe you go to counseling, maybe you go to therapy, maybe you talk to a pastor, or you do something to help heal that area. Well, see, that's kind of like only the first part. And so when you do that, that's a great start. But what happens is if you don't actually release it, that thing can start, trying to open up again, right? That's like when the doctor prescribe you some antibiotics and it say, take all the antibiotics until they're gone. How many of us are guilty to only trying to take them until we feel better? And the moment we feel better, we stop taking them. And what happens usually? That whatever that sickness was starts coming back. Why? Because you didn't complete the process. You didn't complete the instruction. You didn't take the medicine. You didn't take it fully. And so when you healing internally, you got to heal fully. And so it's not enough to just heal from it. It's not enough to now really be like no longer controlled, no longer held hostage. It's no longer, on repeat in your mind in a way where it's debilitating. But You haven't released it because you refused to let it go. Like you're constantly harping on it. Like it's still something that you are putting so much energy that's still taking, like your mental energy is still, taking space, right? In order for you to fully release it, that means it don't even take space no more. Of course it's real and it happened, but it doesn't have to continue to be at the forefront. You are able to acknowledge, you're able to heal, you're able to release, and it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means it doesn't have power over you anymore. And sometimes we give things so much power over us and we wonder why we can't seem to get ahead or get over a thing. It's because it has power over us. Because the more we hold on to it, the more power it has. The more we can't forgive. The more we can't, show mercy. The more we can't have compassion. The more we can't love. Because we're holding on to this thing, and this thing is robbing us of these very things that we desire, because we're holding on to this negativity. We're holding on to this wound. We're holding on to this event, this circumstance, this situation that happened to us. And now it is preventing us from truly having these fulfilling, productive, healthy relationships, or just a fulfilling, productive, healthy life. Because some people are mean, and they're just mean for no reason, right? And you just don't understand in your mind, like, why is this person so mean? I know people like that. And it's easy to judge them, like, ooh, they just mean and nasty. Ooh, they so ugly. They like, I don't even want to be by them. Oh, we don't even want to be. That's negative Nancy. I don't got time. I won't talk to them. Oh, if they call your phone, you don't answer. You allow it to go to voicemail. You don't call them back. And then don't see them, in the street running to them. It's, oh, I was going, because you don't want to be bothered. So I know people like that. I don't know about you, but then what we really don't know is we're seeing the behavior. We're seeing, the result of something, but there's a root to that thing. Something happened to that person that altered their psyche, right? It altered their soul, their mind, their will, their emotions, right? It has such an impact on them that it altered who they became, and they became a negative person. Maybe they was once jolly, maybe they was once fun, kind and fun and loving and all these things, but all of a sudden now they're just mean as they want to be, right? And you just looking like it don't make no sense to just be mean for no reason. But it is a reason. You don't know because maybe they never spoke about it, but there's something going on there internally. There's something in their soul that they have not dealt with. There is an area of wound that has not been healed, nor has they released it. And so now we're seeing the effects of it. And so it's like, if you don't want to end up in bondage, because that's bondage, because now they're not living the fulfilled life that they could live. They're not having the joy. They're not having the fullness of life, because they have allowed this thing to create so much anger, to create so much bitterness inside of them, that they're so mean. Or you develop I don't need nobody, because you was betrayed, because you was hurt by somebody you love and someone you trusted. And so I don't need nobody. I'm cool. I got this. I can do this on myself. You can't trust people no way. Now you suspicious and you paranoid. Everybody out to get you. Ain't nobody out to get you. Okay, why? What they want? What they gonna get from you? What do they want? Why everybody out to get you? Nobody want to get you. But see, but in your mind, you're so mentally wounded that you created a scenario that don't even exist. You think everybody looking at you. You think everybody judging you. You think don't nobody like you. And it's like, these are just in your mind. Because now you have a mental wound that has not been healed, and then you haven't released whatever the offense was, whatever that person did. I get it. Whatever people do to us is real and it's hurtful. I've experienced some really, really hurtful things by people I trusted and I loved and I thought loved me. So I get it. And it's not easy. It is a very hard thing to do, because you really, really, sometimes it hurts so bad. Sometimes if you're just so flabbergasted because you just can't believe like that this person could do this. The hurt is just so deep sometimes. So I get it. But still, you control you. You have an obligation to yourself to heal so you can move forward, and then to release it, to let it go, for it to be as nothing happened, right? Those of us who are Christians, who are believers, we know Jesus, when Jesus died for us and shed his blood so we can be forgiven, so we can have eternal life with the Father, and so we can be justified back in right standing with him. God says in the word that when we repent, when we humble ourselves and we're really sincere in our heart and we repent, which means stop doing it, you turn around, you change your mind, you go in another direction, he says he forgives us. As far as the east is from the west, like he don't remember it no more. Like it doesn't exist to him. And then the Bible tells us in the New Testament that Jesus, he said that, it says in the Bible that according to the same measure you show mercy is how God gonna show you mercy. According to the measure, that you forgive, that's how God is gonna forgive you. So it's like when we hold on to bitterness and unforgiveness, it really stunts us. It really hinders us. It hinders our prayers. It hinders our progress. It hinders our promises, because we are harboring these negative feelings and emotions, and they're going to lead to sin. They're going to lead to hatred. They're going to lead to envy. They're going to lead to jealousy. They're going to lead to gossip and slander, all of these things, right? And so it affects you. So it's your responsibility. Like, it's not that person's responsibility to heal you. And no, you may not get the apology. And so you have to take the initiative to heal anyway. And not just heal, release it, let it go. Like, you have to sometimes physically taking, like, I journal a lot. I love to journal. Like, got so many journals. I'm telling you, journaling is everything. I mean, journaling is everything. And sometimes you actually have to physically let it go. Like, there are times where I was in so much agony. I was in so much anguish of a situation that this person did to me. This person literally, it was like they took my heart and they just was just stabbing it, like, and just didn't care, like, repeatedly. Like, it was just tremendous, like, the amount of pain for no reason. They did not have to do what they did. They could have chose to do something different, but that was their choice, right? And I was so crushed. I had no understanding. And it was so bad. Like, I was just in a depression. Oh, I was depressed. I was stressed. I was crying. Like, my mind and heart was just having a hard time just understanding, reconciling, and feeling all of the pain. It was just like I was going through it. And it got to a point where I had to literally write out all of what happened, all of my feelings. I had to get it out some way. And I wrote it all out on some paper, took it into my driveway, and safely make sure nothing was, around that could have caught fire or damaged anything. But I had to rip it up and burn it. Like, sometimes you got to do that. So it ain't always, going to counseling. Counseling is good. Therapy is good. Talking to a pastor, talking to a professional is great. Getting into some accountability groups, finding some way, outlet, right? Some way to get, to learn how to, in a healthy way, release. But whatever that is for you, it could be as simple as saying it. Like, I release it. I release such and such from, this contempt that I've been holding them in, this unforgiveness, right? Sometimes it's the physical act of getting it out on paper, tearing it up, or you may burn it, whatever it is, but you got to release it. And not just the physical release. The physical release is just a representation of what happens internally, right? It's more internal. Like, you have to get to a place where you're, like, serious, and you have made a decision and a choice. Like, I want to release this person because I want to be free. Because here's the catch-22. When you hold on to an offense, when you hold somebody in contempt because you refuse to forgive them, because a lot of times we feel like if we forgive them, that's giving them a pass. And we want to keep holding on to it. A lot of times we want to keep reminding them of what they did, or sometimes we need to remind ourselves so we don't get hurt like that again, and it becomes like a defense mechanism. But when we do that, the thing about it is we don't hurt that person. We hurt ourselves. We're the ones dealing with all the mental torment. We're the ones, dealing with the vexation. We're the ones dealing, with our minds racing and we can't sleep at night because all we're thinking about is that situation. We're the ones that has become bitter and miserable, and become that person that don't nobody want to be around because we're constantly holding on to that. Or we become the person that's always talking about it. That person that every time you see them, they're talking about what this person did to them because they haven't let it go. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but you have to let things go. You want to heal and you want to release. And if you need help, if you need to learn how, if you need some practical strategy, some steps, some tools, you need some wisdom, and you just need someone to walk alongside you here. Since I'm not here to force you to do anything, I'm not here to tell you to do anything. I'm here to help you. If you want help, I'm here. I'm here to assist you to becoming the best version of you. I'm here to assist you to redefine your worth, so you can now walk in freedom. More than anything, my biggest thing was I want to be free. I no longer wanted to be held bound by my past, my childhood, the trauma, all of the things that I experienced in life. I no longer wanted to keep throwing myself a pity party. Because the fact is, life happens, and it happens to all of us in different ways, of course, but it does. And so it's no use to harping on the thing you can't change. Like, you can't change the past. You can't change what happened. So the best thing to do is to learn from it, to heal from it, and to release it and move on so you can be free. Your peace is worth it. Your healing is worth it. Your wholeness is worth it. And being the best version of yourself is worth it. So, again, if you need, if you want more information, if you kind of want to know more about the redefinition process, if you want to know if this is something that really is for you, you can go to my website at www.redefiningmyworth.com. And on there is a guide, 5 signs to redefine your worth. You may need to redefine your worth. And so it's free. All you have to do is enter your email because it's digital, and it'll be sent directly back to your email so you can, at your own leisure, at your own time, at your own pace, go through it. It has a checklist in there, it has a small quiz in there, and it has a little more information in there about me, what I do, a little bit about my story. So it's good stuff. But it also kind of breaks down the 5 areas that I like to focus on in the redefinition process and help you identify if that's it, what area you need it, or all areas, right, that you need it. It doesn't matter. You're not, it's nothing wrong with if you need all 5 or if you need 1, 2, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you make a decision that you want to start redefining your worth so you can become the best version of you. This ain't about me, because I have my own journey in my process and I'm on it. I definitely talk about that a lot on the podcast. You can also check the podcast out just if you just want to hear a little more, like a little more about my story, my experience, a little bit about, my strategy, or, the way I how, why do I even know these things, or how do I know, or what do I know, right? So you can listen to the podcast if you like. It's called Purity After Promiscuity Podcast. We're redefining a woman's worth. You can listen to it on Spotify, Anchor, and really it's on I don't remember, I'm sorry, y'all, all the other platforms, but you can listen to it right on Facebook here at Redefining a Woman's Worth. You can listen to it right here. You can just click on an episode, so you don't even have to go looking for it. But I wanted you guys to understand that I'm not here because I have an agenda, or it's just about money or influence or business. I'm here because I am you. I have to redefine my worth. I am redefining my worth, and I understand how important it is. And because I know how important it is, that it's not enough for me to be free. It's not enough for me to be healed. It's not enough for me to be whole. I want my sisters to come along with me. So I'm here if you want me to assist you, if you want me to walk alongside you as you become the best version of you. I would love to do so. So just check out the website, www.redefiningmyworth.com. and I have some products and services coming out really soon that will really in depth be able to help you to redefine your worth. Also, I'll be doing group coaching, one-on-one coaching, all type of things. So it's whatever works best for you. You are able to choose your own process, your own plan, your own strategy, and how you want to go about redefining your worth. And we can do this. I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for you. And as always, until we meet again, just know your past does not define you. It develops you, and you are worthy.